Is there a certain age limit?
No, I can be amateur until I'm 40 years old.
Yes.
In Singapore, I'm good enough.
So I'm Ryan Ang. I'm a Singapore national team golfer.
Brilliant from Ryan Ang.
Well, I started golf when I was very young. I was, as most people call, like a club golfer, social golfer for most of my life. Going professional crossed my mind a few times, but I never thought I was really good enough until maybe the last 2 years or so, where my golf really started to take a turn for the better. And once you reach like the level of golf where you can compete with the rest, I think it's all about finding that 1%. It can be the simplest things, or
When you make a bad shot, how do you like get rid of the bad thoughts and focus on the next shot, you know?
it's a psychological battle out there as much as it is physical. A lot of it is played between the years. You can only control so much, which is like what club you choose, how you get the shot. Yeah. And that's about it.
And then how did it feel when you realized that you secured the PGA Tour of Australasia card?
I mean, it's pretty surreal.
We've heard like the public golf courses are closing down.
I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, honestly, a lot of my friends grew up playing on public golf courses like Mandai, Marina Bay, Champions, even Jurong, back in the day. To slowly see one by one, then being taken away, it's not ideal for the golf scene in Singapore.
Why not we just begin by introducing yourself? Like, what's your name and what do you do?
So I'm Ryan Ang. I'm a Singapore national team golfer. I've been in the team for about 4 years now. I joined in 2020, just as COVID hit. So I think it's my 4th year now, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I just recently graduated from SMU with a degree in accounting. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to turn pro in October, and we'll see how that goes.
Interesting. Very excited for you. I mean, it's not long till then. Okay, let me ask a basic question. Like, how did it all started? Like, what made you go into golf? You know, what started it all?
Well, I started golf when I was very young. So I was probably like 7 years old when I started. My dad got me to the driving range, but I was never into like anything serious. I was, as most people call, like a club golfer, social golfer for most of my life until I finished national service. So that was when I was called to join the national team before I started my national service, but my family and I chose to turn down the offer and focus on finishing my JC, because A-levels is understandably very tiring and taxing. So we wanted to finish A-levels and finish NS before making any decisions, basically. So I only joined the national team after that. And it's been a pretty steep learning curve with lots of events in a very short period of time. And I didn't even think of, well, going professional crossed my mind a few times, but I never thought I was really good enough until maybe the last 2 years or so, where, you know, my golf really started to take a turn for the better and started to be really competitive within the region, but also overseas as well when I compete, and as well as when I play in a lot of professional events. I make the cuts, and I'm, having very respectable finishes in those events. So that kind of like piqued my interest even more. And yeah, I guess now we're here. I'm ready to transition, I guess.
I mean, I'm not a golfer by any means. Tried. Actually, since last year. But let's talk about like inspirations. Like, do you have any inspirations? Anyone you look up to, in the golfing world? Any golfers?
I mean, I think obviously for most people around my age, I think Tiger was a lot of our idols growing up. But I mean, I always loved watching Jordan Spieth when he was at his prime in 2015, 2016, when he won his 4 majors in a very short period of time. I just really liked his creativity around the greens. And I think I was pretty inspired actually recently, because he was, after 2015, 2016, he kind of went into a pretty big dip of form. He wasn't really contending a lot. He was battling a lot of swing issues and whatnot. So, but in the recent few years, it's kind of come back. And I think that's quite inspiring to me. See how fast he reached the pinnacle of golf and then how far down he fell. And to be able to come back up from that. Similar to what Tiger has done with his comeback, winning the 2019 Masters. I mean, looking at how these athletes bounce back from setbacks is pretty much why those two people are my inspirations, pretty much.
Like you said, okay, like you've won many competitions, right? I mean, you've won competitions in Singapore and different regions. And recently, I saw on the news that you secured your what's that, PGA Tour of Australasia.
Yeah, so I got my full card on the PGA Tour of Australasia.
So how does it feel to have got? Is it a card or what? What is that?
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a card basically. So in golf, you gotta to play on a tour or to compete as a professional, you have to go through what's called Q school, which is what I call a job interview, a very rigorous job interview. So it's 4 rounds of golf, and it's usually different stages. Most Q schools have at least 2 stages, so you gotta play depending on how well and fair as an amateur or as a pro, you can get exempted past different stages. But most people have to start from the first stage, then play 4 rounds of golf, and then there's a percentage cut. So a percentage number of golfers will make it through to the second stage, and so on and so forth until you get to the final stage. And then from there, it's usually the best of the best because everyone's advanced there. And then from there, they take the best, 20%, probably 18%. And then those guys will earn their tour card. And once you have a tour card, then you can play as a professional in the various tours around the world. Whereas as amateur, you can kind of just sign up for any events that you want to play. So that's the privilege of being an amateur. You can kind of pick and choose what events you want to play. You can have a pretty full schedule for the year. Like if I wanted to play 35 events a year, I could. If I wanted to play every week of the year, I could as well as an amateur. But as a professional, if you don't have a tour card and you don't qualify on a tour, then you're pretty much stuck with practicing and then playing at your home course with friends or whenever you get invited on tour. And then you got to wait for the next year's Q school. So it's kind of a brutal interview because if you don't make it, you got to wait a full year for another chance. And you only got one chance every year, pretty much.
Okay, interesting. Thanks for the insight. And so, let me just try to understand this. So, you secured your PGA Tour of Australasia card, and that allows you to play in, is it global events or only Australasia?
So probably only on the Australasian tour, but the tour runs from October till March or April, which is the Australian spring and summer season. So I'll be able to play most, if not all, events on that tour. And then, I mean, from there, it's just like it's what we call like a feeder tour, where if you do well on the Australian tour on the order of merit, you can play away onto the bigger tour, which will be like Japan tour, Asian tour, or the DP World Tour, and then eventually like the pinnacle PGA Tour.
And then how did it feel when you realized that you secured the PGA Tour of Australasia card?
I mean, it's pretty surreal. I came to the week without many expectations. I was exempt into the final stage because I represented Singapore in last year's Eisenhower Trophy, which is the World Amateur Team Championships. So I used that exemption. So I skipped first stage. I went alone into final stage. So without caddy, without family members, without coach. But I mean, obviously, I'll still keep in contact with everyone back home and whatnot. But yeah, it was a bit tough because where I played in Australia was in Melbourne at Luna Links, where most of the golfers who have played there before know it's Melbourne weather gets pretty brutal. It can be raining one day, one moment, and then it'll be sunny the next, and then it'll be rainy the next. So, but it was something I was not used to, I guess, because national team travels to Australia a lot. So it was a battle all week. I did have my best game, but even after I finished my last round, I thought I missed out by one because I finished at 2 over par, and I had a feeling the cut or top 30 and ties will probably be at 1. That's my guess at the start of the day. So finish at 2, I thought I missed out already, but I guess everyone had nerves that day and a couple of people dropped back. Actually, more than a couple of people dropped back. I think 8 or 9 guys dropped back at the end after me. So that for me secured my card. But yeah, it was pretty surreal. It was my first skill school as well. So
Yeah, funny how things turn out. And, I'm very happy, and I'm sure many other Singaporeans are very happy and rooting for you as well. What's interesting is that, the question that pops in my mind, and why were you there alone? Why didn't you have any caddy? Why were you your own caddy?
I mean, it's just quite costly.
I see.
Travel wouldn't to bring like a whole team with you. Yeah, as a rookie professional, it's quite costly. I think many guys as a rookie professional, you see they'll travel alone, or they have like their dad on one come out to help them caddy sometimes to save costs. They won't have a professional caddy, and then their coach will be stationed somewhere back home. If not, you gotta pay for the flights for the coach to fly over, for the caddy to fly over, not to mention accommodation, food. It adds up pretty quick.
So the SGA don't send anyone?
I mean, ultimately, it's my own decision to play to school, and I'm not gonna ask SSG to send a coach over just for me. It wouldn't be very wise, and it wouldn't be very for me to do so. I think during that week, I saw coach was in Taiwan with the rest of the team for another event, and assistant coach was in Western Australia for another event. So everyone was pretty busy that week. So it kind of clashed with everything. And even if they weren't there, I think I was comfortable with Australia. I've been there many times, so I didn't see the need to have everyone out there for just my first few school. So.
Yeah, and how do you train your mind like to stay focused under pressure? Like when you make a bad shot, like how do you like get rid of the bad thoughts and focus on the next shot?
I think it's a lot of forgiveness for me. I think it's understanding that golf, a lot of things are out of your control, especially once you hit the shot. You can only control so much, which is like what club you choose, how you hit the shot. And that's about it, how you make a decision. Apart from that, once the club hits the ball and goes in the air, you can't really, because of wind hits or the ball bounces the wrong way into the rough or into the water, you can't change that. You can only put the best thing you have with the balls on the ball. And then from there, for me, it's pretty easy to forgive and forget because I committed to the shot. I made what I thought was the best decision at that point in time. So once I've done that, I've checked all the boxes and put the shot. I think for me, it's easy to kind of reflect and review and move on from there. So I think that's what I've learned over the last few years. Which is what I think the best players do well. Forget quickly and learn and adapt from their previous shots quicker. So, yeah.
Just to continue on from that, I saw you mention somewhere before that the national team has a performance mindset coach. How does that work like that? Performance mindset coach?
Yeah, I was sort of like a sports psychologist, but I think he wouldn't call himself a sports psych. It's called Chanson Bay. He's been working with the national team, most of the players here for quite a while. I think it's already been 3 years, I think, he's with us. Yeah, it's been quite cool. I think he goes through different principles and different mindsets for us to kind of go back on. I won't really delve much into detail because it's quite what it's just basically giving us things to fall back on and processes to utilize on the golf course so that we can better understand ourselves on the course and better react and respond to situations that we face with on the course so that, we are better equipped mentally. As we all know, golf is like, it's a psychological battle out there as much as it is physical. It's a lot of it is played between the years. And the best players in the world are pretty much the toughest mentally. So I think it's been really cool to work with someone like that. I think there might be future sports psychologists or whatnot that we're working with. We have the Singapore Golf Association, I've been told. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, see how it goes.
Fantastic. And that's amazing to hear because it's so interesting, like to hear how top athletes, see like a sports psych or psychologist and to reframe their thoughts, reframe the narrative, even to increase your game by, like a few percentage.
It's all about the small, once you reach like the level of golf where you can really compete with the rest, I think it's all about finding that 1% within your game here and there. It's not like making like a huge change or makeover. I think usually your fundamentals are pretty solid. We plan for the very, very marginal things for, as little as it can get. It can be the simplest things of joining a ball on your ball or changing the shaft of the club or changing the way you look at the golf course or playing strategies. Just very small things that often make the biggest difference and can take a career quite far a long way.
100%. That all matters, and I fully agree with you. And so, talk me through, like, what is your plans moving forward? I mean, you mentioned you're going pro. That's in what? That's in about 2 months or so.
Yeah, October 10th will probably be where I turn pro.
Yeah.
That'll be the first event. But before that, I've got two bigger events. Not bigger, big amateur events. I got the US Mid Amateur, which is for people 25 and older. And the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. So the aim is to win one of the two, because I want to delay 30 pro as long as I can. That's why I try and tell people, because if I win one of the next two events I play as an amateur, I will get a start at the Masters, and I will get a start at either the US Open or the British Open. That'll be my next two events coming up in mid-September and early October. So those will be my last two. If I don't win those, then I'll turn in October.
Is there a certain age limit, like to stay in the amateur?
No, I mean, I can be amateur until I'm 40 years old.
Yes.
In Singapore, I'm good enough. But
Okay.
I think there comes a point in time where you kind of know that you stayed long enough. And, I played in last year's SEA Games when I was 23 years old, and I looked around and everyone was like 16, 17, 18. It's time to move on. And a lot of my peers have turned pro and are successful on tour now. So it's given me even more motivation to see a lot of my friends who I've competed with the last 2 years kind of go on to turn pro, and quite a big number of them are settling the tour life, and so I'm looking forward to competing and traveling alongside them again.
Wonderful. And how I mean, you've mentioned Olympic before. I mean, how would it work?
The goal is to qualify for the 2020 or 2022 Olympics. So that will be purely based on world rankings. It's usually for guys, I think top 300 in the world. Because Singapore is such a small country, you don't really have to compete for spots like the USA, where you have 10 guys in the top 300 and they only choose the top 4. So with Singapore sample size, I think usually if any of the guys making the top champion in the world, it's a big deal, first of all. And second, will automatically qualify for the Olympics. That's how Shivin's done in the women's. Because she's broken in. I think she's top 200 in the world now. So it's pretty simple for her to qualify for the Olympics. There was no questions asked. Yeah, she's got other than amazing things. She has just made a cut at the British Open, first Singaporean woman to make the cut at the major championship. So
I mean, I saw the news. Like, what it was like? I opened my news like 1 or 2 hours ago, and I saw that. Yeah. I saw she was like 8 points behind Nelly Corder.
Yeah.
Which I follow as well. So that was super interesting to see. I mean, from a Singaporean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very happy to see all those under the national golf team. Both the men's and the women's doing so well.
Yeah.
And to keep on going, and to keep on cheering for you guys. I think that's fantastic. Let me move into a more I wouldn't say controversial topic, but I mean we've heard like the public golf courses are closing down in Singapore. How would you think that would affect the golf scene in Singapore? Because now you can only either go travel overseas or you're part of like private clubs and private venues. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I mean, it's gonna be tough. I mean, honestly, a lot of my friends grew up playing on public golf courses like Mandai, Marina Bay, Champions, even Jurong, back in the day. But I mean, to slowly see one by one them being taken away, it's not ideal for the golf scene in Singapore. I think public access is super important. When the national team trains at Mandai, every few days or so. We train there quite regularly. It's always nice to see like young kids out there, or like even members of the public. And a lot of my friends in university actually who didn't used to golf and didn't really like golf for the sake. I won't call them out. Like they didn't like golf. They kind of laughed at me because I played golf. So okay, you guys are all playing golf. So for business, for networking, it's always a good sport to play because you can never sit down with someone for 4 or 5 hours in the golf cart and chat about anything under the sun. You can't do that with basketball, you can't do that with swimming, can't do that with badminton. You're 4 hours with a person or with good people in a small group. If you play 18 holes, and you can quickly find out personalities of people, how patient they are, how understanding they are, how tolerable they are. Do they have any like bad habits or interesting opinions? I think a lot of my dad's friends and that generation got a lot of their networking and a lot of their first jobs through golf. The networking possibilities and the access to public is so important. So I'm not sure. I'm really not too sure what golf will like in Singapore in the next few years. Will it be similar to Hong Kong? Because Hong Kong only has 5 golf courses now. And they're also struggling for course access, and it's only public. And there's only only private and one public golf course. So honestly, for myself, personally, I think it's quite worrying to see. And I think our general manager and the whole committee of the Singapore Golf Association is trying their best to retain as many public golf courses as we can. The Mandai, especially now, with it being the only one, I think, left after Marina Bay closed.
Is the Mandai one closing?
It was gonna close.
In 2 years.
We got a 2-year extension because of that's the only way we can get public access. If not, everyone won't have the privilege to play on course. Not everyone is privileged to grow up in a private golf club. Not everyone will have access to that. So I think hopefully with how Singapore is changing its views on sports with the new announcement of the Kallang changes, I think it's really promising to see how the shift has slowly, turned from trying to recruit international talent over to now focusing on improving and developing local young talent and really injecting a lot of funds into sports science, into nutrition, into coaches, into facilities, and bring more sporting events, like world-class sporting events into Singapore. I think it's really encouraging. So we'll see. Golf is always going to be regarded as an elitist sport, and there's always going to be a large pushback with, how many private golf courses we have in Singapore. So we'll see how that goes.
Definitely, yeah. We will. Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how everything turns out from all the plans and all the injection of the funds. And there's a lot of confidence from what I've seen recently. And okay, thanks for sharing so much. And
just a quick one. I remember back when I was younger, I was going through an incredibly tough period in my life where I had no one to talk to about my problems. There was no place I could share my honest thoughts and feelings because I was just so afraid of being judged by people. And I realized that was so bad for my mental well-being. It's like bottling up everything and just waiting for a day where it all explodes. So no, we're not going to let that happen for you. Because my team and I have developed a free social app called Huddles, where you can share all your problems anonymously, whatever is currently on your mind that's bothering you, whatever is making you upset or giving you sleepless nights. This is a non-toxic app where you can just be yourself, heal, and make many wholesome friends that will be there for you to support you during difficult times. The app is currently available on iOS at the moment, so good news for iPhone users. But we are working really hard to get an Android version out as soon as we can, so we don't miss out on the rest of you. So trust me, download the app, give it a shot, and I guarantee you that your future you will thank you for taking care of yourself. I'll put the link in the description below as well, and I'll see you in Hobbies.
let's just talk a bit about how do you juggle your studies? You just graduated from university. How do you juggle your studies alongside like traveling and alongside golf? Like you must be very good at compartmentalizing your time and organizing yourself. Yeah.
Well, a lot of credit has been given to SMU. I think I mentioned in many interviews before, I think SMU has been super supportive with a lot of national athletes like myself. We're given a lot of opportunity to plan our timetable as well. And with the way SMU structures its lessons, it's like 3-hour blocks. So it's perfect for athletes like us because I can stack 2 lessons or 3 lessons about one per day on one day. We have to take like, let's say 4 volumes a semester and stack 3 on Monday and then 1 late on Tuesday, for example. But I can kind of clear most of my lessons in 2 days. Then I'll have like 6 days basically we train full time. So as an athlete, really encouraging because SMU and the professors are always super supportive of me. And usually I try and take no more than 3 weeks of leave, excluding recess week per semester. That's my usual law. So usually every semester I get 3 competitions basically or 4 if I count recess week. So I usually have 4 events. They have about 3-4 months, which is pretty good for national athlete, for golfers. And then the professors are always super kind, regularly check out on me and make sure I'm not lagging behind. And also like huge shout out to all my SMU friends. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be able to keep up with fast. I mean, there's always been a couple and when I first joined SMU in year 1, 2, and 3, where I regularly did for classes with and like group together with, and they've always been super supportive of my golf. I think it's pretty cool to see so many of my friends like interested in what I do and supportive of what I do. They're never hesitant to help out when I'm asking for help, and it's what only true SMU. So, and now recently, I think SMU has also reached out to me to kind of ask how they can better support their national athletes, and I think this is a huge initiative that SMU in particular is pushing for. I know there's a lot of national athletes in SMU as well, so I think that's why they're so interested in finding out more on how to help national athletes juggle studies. But personally, I think I also take pride in what I do. I don't really like to compete and then shortchange my professors as well. So I make a huge effort to contribute for group projects and keep up my work even when I'm overseas. Well, and not flunk my exams. I try to do my best in exams. I honestly don't want to leave a bad impression. That's just funny. You know, as actually I pride myself in giving the best in whatever I do, and I don't want to take advantage of the kindness that professors have given towards me, I guess you could say. I think I always look to give back in a way. Like my way of giving back was like, okay, attending class, putting in my best, participating in class, and doing well on the exams. I think that's at least us athletes can do when the schools and the professors are so supportive of us. You know, I'm also need like athletes who just go overseas and then take advantage of the professors, come back, skip class, don't do well on exams, and then what? Then you lose the trust of professors, and then it's just a bad cycle for other athletes because it leaves a bad impression. Professors will be like, oh, I've dealt with this athlete who wasn't attending class, who kept skipping class for no reason. And then it just, breeds a bad cycle. So yeah, I started a Group 1 in SMU, and I know a lot of athletes in SMU have done the same, and that's why we're so supportive. So I'm not surprised.
Definitely, I mean, that's a brilliant mindset to have, and it's very heartening to see like the local schools and local unis, right? Like SMU give so much to athletes. They take care of the athletes. They understand what the athletes have to do when they go out for their competitions and to train. And I've also spoken recently to a few athletes also, and a lot of them are from SMU as well. So no, it's cool to see how they're reaching out to you to how better sport when they're already doing so well. It's just that level of commitment that makes me very happy to see. To contribute back to the sports scene in Singapore. It's just very, very brilliant. And that reciprocal nature where the athlete also like yourself gives back, and not taking advantage. And like the mindset of doing well in whatever you do, like being the best, aiming to be the best. You don't shortchange yourself in sport. You don't shortchange yourself in academics. So fantastic. That's very mature, and thanks for sharing that opinion and that insight about SMU. And quick question. Aside from golf, do you have any hobbies or interests that you enjoy, during the downtime?
Well, I follow quite a lot of sports. I mean, I'm quite a sporty person. I like to keep track of a lot of things. F1 is one of my interests. I mean, I recently, with so many travels to the States in Australia, I watched NFL quite a bit whenever I find. Then Big Bash League in Australia cricket. So I think these kind of keep me occupied for the year. But apart from that, I don't really like a particular hobby I go back to. I usually like to spend time with family and friends when I'm back home. I'm trying to reach out to as many of my friends at the club, at the golf club, like to catch up whenever I can. And usually when I'm recovering, I'm either like hanging out with my brother or my family, or just like watching, sports on TV. There are not many of my friends watch golf, even though they're golfers. You'd be surprised how many golfers actually watch golf because they like to disconnect from the game once it's over. But I actually like to keep track of it. A lot of what my other friends are doing overseas from Perth. I've been watching the British Open tonight, which starts at like 7 p.m. And so the kind of things that interest me. And, I actually, if I really had a choice, I really wanted to start learn how to cook properly. I think that's like something with looking forward into the future. Like once I'm traveling as a professional golfer, learning and being good at cooking overseas, I think would be a good skill to add. So I've been practicing that when I'm overseas, trying to cook my own meals and learn from my friends who are pretty good at cooking themselves. So
Do you eat spicy food?
no, unfortunately, my parents are pretty disappointed. My parents are not Singaporean.
I see.
They are Indonesian born, but they migrated over to Singapore just before I was born. So, and I mean, most Indonesians eat a lot of spicy food. So I don't take spicy food personally. I think my stomach is very sensitive to it. So unfortunately, I go not spicy food.
But no, it's such a skill to be able to cook, to be able to get your groceries, and pick it out and just whip up a meal at home. Sometimes it can get very convenient. But I mean, nowadays also I see a lot of friends, they use those apps to deliver food back their place. So maybe perhaps there's convenience as well, but maybe not too friendly on the wallet, yeah. But yeah, no, interesting. Thanks for sharing like stuff that you do during your downtime. And yeah, we're at the end. So once again, thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on. Myself and many other people in this country will be rooting for you as you pursue your transition and into your pro life. And myself, and I'm sure many others, only wish you the best and to keep on going and to keep striving for what you have set for yourself. So thank you so much for tonight. Keep you updated and have a good rest of your weekend, yeah?
Growth is painful. Failure can be embarrassing, but the great ones aren't afraid to fall on their face in front of others because their why is way more powerful than the judgment of the crowd.